And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
We're not just going to let you walk out of here.
Take a giant step for mankind.
Get together, have a few laughs.
Welcome to the Iowa Talk Guys podcast. I'm your host, TP.
I'm Mel.
And E-Rock couldn't make it tonight because he's going to some festival of the flowers or something. I couldn't remember. Something with violets. I don't remember. He gave us some poor excuse.
A lotus.
Lotus is the festival of the lotus. I don't know.
Going to the house of lotus eaters.
Whatever that is. I don't know. Somebody might know. He knows.
It's from, you don't know what it is? It's from the Odyssey, dude.
Yeah, well, I only go to the House of Planting Tulips. So I have no idea what the House of Lotus is. Anywho, but you know, as always, E-Rock is here in hearts and minds with us, as always, all the time, or whatever that stuff is. But today, this morning, whenever you're listening to the show, imagine, if you will, a world where humans have the power to control the sun's rays, to dim its intensity and cool the planet. Sound like science fiction? Yet this concept, known as solar engineering, is not only a topic of intense scientific research, but also a subject of heated debates and controversies. Welcome to the Iowa Talk Guys podcast, where today we unravel the plot to blot out the sun. Let's talk about solar geoengineering. So we're trying a new thing here, trying to get with the 2025, get with the times. We utilized ChatGPT to help us write this script for the show, but we did our due diligence and went through it. Checked it out. We got some other stuff. ChatGPT is very mainstream media heavy. And I'm trying to train mine to see if I can get it to force it to look at other sources of information, such as like antiwar.com or ronpaul.com or something. But we'll see what happens. But it did a pretty decent job. So I had to have it rewrite the script a few times and get it accurate and flowing. And I ended up having an interesting conversation with it where it was contradicting itself. At first, it was cool, and then and then all of a sudden, I think it caught on to that. It realized that I made it contradict itself, and then just kept giving me stupid answers after that. But it's all good. It's all good. We'll see what happens, huh? With the future of AI. I also tried getting AI to do something with this photo or a video of a girl dunking a basketball, and I must have gotten like the Down syndrome AI or something, because it kept making a small gif of a woman like smashing her face into a basketball, and her face becomes the basketball. It was weird. I gave it multiple different prompts trying to get it to do this, and it just kept coming back with craziness. I'm like, okay. Or maybe the AI was just sexist. It's like, women can't dunk. Who knows? But anyways, let's get into this first segment here, understanding solar geoengineering. So solar geoengineering refers to deliberate interventions in the Earth's climate system aimed at reflecting a portion of solar radiation back into space to reduce global temperatures. Techniques include injecting reflective particles into the stratosphere or brightening clouds to increase their reflectivity. The goal? to mitigate the effects of climate change by artificially cooling the planet. Sounds a little dangerous to me, huh? I don't know. What about you, Mel?
Sounds like that cloud seeding stuff that they're doing.
It is, yeah. And we'll get into that. And what kind of chemicals are these, too? So we try to cover all these in this. So we'll continue here. One of the most discussed methods is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, which involves dispersing aerosols into the stratosphere to reflect sunlight. This approach draws inspiration from natural phenomena like volcanic eruptions, where particles ejected into the atmosphere have led to temporary global cooling. For instance, the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo released vast amounts of sulfur dioxide, resulting in a noticeable drop in global temperatures. Remember that when that erupted, Mel?
No, I don't remember when that one erupted.
We were kids.
91, we would have been like 5, 6 years old at that time.
Yeah, dude, I think we were in like kindergarten or something.
No, I don't remember that one. I don't really remember. I mean, I don't think we see too much about volcanoes erupting anymore. I mean, you see a little bit later, but not like, I don't think it's like big world news unless a bunch of people are fucking dying from it.
Yeah, I remember seeing, maybe it was on the news. I remember seeing this because looking at this photo now from this video, June 15th, 1991, Mount Pinatubo on the Philippine Islands erupted with a massive blow. It shows all this crazy cloud. Something out of a science fiction movie. Pretty wild. But anyways, so that's where these scientists are drawing inspiration. While the concept may seem promising, it is essential to understand that these interventions are still largely theoretical and come with a host of uncertainties. The complexity of the Earth's climate system means that manipulating one aspect could lead to unforeseen consequences elsewhere. Moreover, the ethical and governance issues surrounding such interventions are profound, raising questions about who gets to control the global thermostat, or, seeing as how I have such distrust in governments, who gets to control the global weather weapon. That's just my 2 cents there for that. There's been a lot of people interested, for some reason, I guess it would be global warming or climate change issues, but there seems to be a lot of billionaires that are really mad at the sun. Maybe it's because we get free energy from it. I don't know. Look at all these people growing their free food in their backyard. I don't think so.
Yeah. You seen all this stuff coming out about how the World Economic Forum said that they need to outlaw people growing their own food because it's causing the environment to change. Like it's causing global warming more than...
Yeah, we talked about that on the show where they're saying like homesteaders and home gardeners cause more carbon emissions than industrial farming.
There's another one that just came out the other day where they were talking about it, that it really needs to happen now.
Which is totally asinine.
All this stuff.
Because that's like, do you even know that these machines that are digging the earth and planting this stuff are run on diesel, which nobody in their backyard's running anything diesel to make a garden back there. So completely asinine statement. And yeah. So apparently these billionaires, they don't like that. That's a thing that they just don't like the sun. They're mortal enemies, just like in that Simpsons episode, which we'll get into. But the involvement of high-profile figures like Bill Gates has thrust solar and geoengineering into the spotlight. Gates has funded projects exploring the feasibility of spraying calcium carbonate into the atmosphere to reflect sunlight. However, these initiatives have faced significant pushback. For instance, a planned experiment in Sweden was canceled in 2021 due to public protest and concerns from indigenous communities. Let me guess, you wanted to spray the skies above the indigenous with all these chemicals. That's like, why would they be upset about that?
I think it was like Malaysia or the Philippines or something, but they have like these huge like wineries over there or something, but they get a lot of hail in these regions. They use these artillery cannons with modified shells that shoot what do you say it was? Calcium carbonate?
Yeah, that's in China.
China.
Yeah, and they like to break up the hail and shit. So like they do this almost everywhere.
Yeah, And, well, nobody knows. That's the other thing, is they haven't done enough studies to find out what is that actually doing to the soil and the runoff and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that kind of reminds me of in Vietnam when they were looking for VC or NVA areas, and they're like, well, the foliage is too, we don't know if there's any enemy over here. The foliage is too thick here, so let's drop Agent Orange on all this foliage and all these people's crops and kill everything. And then if we fly back over, we can get a better view. And if they shoot at us, then they're most likely NVA or VC. Well, so they did that. They killed all these people's crops and everything and all that stuff. Then they did another recon mission a couple weeks later to fly by. And guess what? They got shot at probably by a bunch of angry farmers that were angry that these same planes just killed all their crops. Yeah. And so then they're like, oh yeah, VC's here. Then they would napalm the village.
Yeah, not only did they kill all the crops, but then, later all those people died, like bone cancer and shit.
Yeah, the kids that were survived, and yeah, all the birth defects from it.
And then like GIs, American GIs died from it.
Yep. A lot of people came back with, and later on developed cancers and stuff later on in life due to complications from Agent Orange and Agent Purple and all those other chemicals that Monsanto cooked up. Saving the world, one alchemy spell at a time, huh? That should be their motto.
Right.
Anyways, critics argue that such interventions could have unintended side effects, including changes in weather patterns and impacts on agriculture. Proponents, on the other hand, contend that with the accelerating pace of climate change, it's prudent to explore all possible avenues of mitigation. The debate extends beyond the scientific community. Environmental groups and civil society organizations have called for a global moratorium on solar geoengineering experiments, citing the lack of comprehensive governance framework and the potential for geopolitical conflicts. The notion of a single nation or entity unilaterally deploying such technology is a cause for alarm among many stakeholders. That should be a cause for alarm for many citizens, too. And we've also talked about in Dubai and Saudi Arabia, and you can pay for a sunny day for your wedding and stuff. You can pay to make sure that the weather is perfect for your wedding day, right?
Didn't you pay to make it so you get rain on your crops too over there?
Arirang News, April 6, 2014.
To ensure stability in its agriculture sector, China is not leaving things to Mother Nature. The Chinese government is planning to employ upgraded weather control systems in Heilongjiang, Jilin, and Liaoning, the three provinces responsible for 54% of the nation's rice production. The project, which will continue until June, involves creating artificial rain using cloud seeding, special aircraft, rockets, and much more. China has been tinkering with the idea for years. But how controllable can the weather be? Skeptics fear the consequences of meddling with nature at this level could be dire.
Fox News Tampa Bay, July 27, 2021.
Okay, so we talked about this last week, and now we're going to do a deep dive with Davo. Dubai is making it rain in a sweltering desert by zapping clouds with electricity using drones.
Fascinating, isn't it?
So much to ask, but let's take it, and then we'll do a few questions.
Before we talk about what's happening in Dubai, let's talk about cloud seeding in general, because a lot of people, I don't think, understand what cloud seeding is. And this has been going on for decades, by the way. This is not something that's brand new. But traditionally, what cloud seeding is, it involves using aircraft or drones or even some cannons to push silver iodide up high into the clouds. Why silver iodide? Because what that has the same crystallized structure as ice. So once it gets up into the clouds, it starts to accumulate ice on it and these large raindrops, which helps, especially in a cloud mass that's not really going to rain. It helps to bring rain and especially snow down.
So it works.
It does work marginally. But the problem with silver iodide through the years has been this, is that they feel it could be harmful to aquatic life. Okay. So over in Dubai, which is what you're seeing here, they took it a different step. And what they basically did, they had a fleet of drones that flew up into cloud cover, and they used electrical charges to force water droplets to combine into larger ones.
So not silver, not cloud seeding as we know.
No, they're not using the traditional silver iodide, which takes out the environmental aspect of that, okay? So they're using just electricity to create larger raindrops. Why larger raindrops? Because in Dubai, they only average about 4 inches of rain per year, as most of the rain that falls out of the clouds evaporates. Because it's so hot, it's so dry, and the water molecules are so tiny. So they're trying to stimulate by using electricity these droplets to be larger. Hence, they can make it to the ground. Now, I will tell you that the jury is still kind of out a bit on whether or not this was a fluke, whether this is something that can work long term. So they need to continue with these drones, and they're going to continue to do this.
So, assuming it works and it wasn't a fluke, why not use this out in the western U.S. where all these wildfires are and the drought is going on? Could this not help us
That's
here?
a fantastic question, and they've been trying. This is stuff that, first of all, it's very expensive too. You're talking about millions and millions of dollars, which is fine when you're trying to alleviate a drought.
Sure.
It cannot work with wildfires. Here's the thing. You can't just throw silver iodide or electricity into a clear sky and it rains. It doesn't work that way. You have to have the right cloud structure, the right cloud height. They have to be tall, getting up well into the freezing layers. Then you can try to stimulate that process. And they've done that out west. During the winter time when they get days and days of cloud cover, they've done that, and they've noticed they've been able to increase the snowfall pack 5 to 15%. But the area and the weather, Russell, around wildfires is not conducive to that type of cloud cover, so you can't do it. In other words, we need to treat the drought, which will then alleviate the wildfires. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's the way it has to go. 5 to 15% increase in precipitation out west due to this. It's a start.
But getting into a little bit of the political perspective and policies, political stances on solar geoengineering vary widely. While some policymakers advocate for research into these technologies as a potential tool against climate change, others are more cautious, emphasizing the need for stringent regulations and international agreements. The Trump administration, for example, was known for rolling back environmental regulations, raising questions about its commitment to addressing climate change. While there were discussions and speculations, no concrete plans were implemented by the administration to pursue solar geoengineering. Internationally, the European Union has taken a more precautionary approach. Scientific advisors to the European Commission have recommended a moratorium on solar geoengineering efforts across the EU due to insufficient evidence of their effectiveness and potential harmful impacts. This emphasizes the need for global governance frameworks to regulate any further deployment of such technologies. The geopolitical implications are profound. The potential for unilateral action by a single country or a coalition raises concerns about conflicts and the exacerbation of global inequalities. After all, the impacts of solar geoengineering would be global, affecting nations and ecosystems indiscriminately. Right. So it's like whatever we do here could be affecting other countries and stuff and everything too, right?
Yeah. I mean, isn't that pretty much how it works now? Like whatever we do here is probably affecting smaller countries anyway.
I mean, globally or economically, socially.
Yeah, economically and socially and
yeah.
I mean, like, isn't all of our garbage
environmentally?
Isn't all of our garbage like environmentally? Isn't all of our garbage like taking over Puerto Rico right now? But they have like just like a big issue.
Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe made this joke at a Trump rally on October 28, 2024.
There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Some random Puerto Rican lady found on TikTok.
Here's why smart Puerto Ricans, like me, were not offended about the joke that was made about Puerto Rico being a garbage heap floating in the Atlantic at the Trump rally in New York, Madison Square Garden. Okay, let's explain it. Truthfully, there is a landfill problem in Puerto Rico. They don't recycle in Puerto Rico. They have a massive waste management problem in Puerto Rico. And because I knew of this, and I have family in Puerto Rico, and they would complain about this all the time, this joke landed for me. I was like, yeah, okay, he's not lying.
Puerto Ricans don't want to pick up their own trash, apparently, is what I've heard. I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's just their own garbage?
Right, yeah. We send all of our garbage into landfills instead of like shooting it into space or whatever. Unless it's the Twin Towers and 9/11, then we send it to China.
No garbage ends up in the sea at all. Ever.
Unless it's dumped off a naval ship.
Or, out of a cruise ship.
Right, exactly. Those aren't U.S. waters, dude, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Or, if it's Osama bin Laden, you gotta dump him in the ocean too, because he might come back. We gotta jump him in the Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
Like he's Megatron.
Yep, it's like Megatron. Megatron came back, though, so watch out.
Osama might come back too, dude. You never know. Maybe he'll be the Antichrist. So Osama bin Laden too. Crazier things have happened. He got younger and younger as new videos came out when we were growing up. Remember that?
All that dialysis, dude.
Yeah. That special dialysis machine that Tony Stark made for him in a cave.
Getting all those oil changes, man.
Yep.
Worked out for him.
Does the body good, apparently, for an Afghan. Well, he wasn't Afghan. He was a Saudi. But anyway. So let's do a little bit of historical context. So the idea of manipulating the climate isn't new. In 1965, the President's Science Advisory Committee under President Lyndon B. Johnson suggested increasing the Earth's reflectivity as a means to counteract global warming, which wasn't even a term back then, but okay.
The term global warming was first used in a 1975 science article, Climatic Change, Are We on the Brink of a Pronounced Global Warming? By geochemist Wallace Broecker, of Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Geological Observatory.
Later in the 1970s, Russian climatologist Mikhail Buryoko proposed releasing aerosol into the stratosphere to achieve a cooling effect. These earlier proposals were largely speculative and lacked the technological means for implementation. However, they laid the groundwork for contemporary discussions on solar geoengineering. The eruption of Mount Pinatubo in 1991 provided a real-world example of how stratospheric aerosols could lead to a global cooling, reigniting interest in the concept. It's also worth noting that weather modification techniques such as cloud seeding have been employed for decades to induce rainfall. While not the same as solar geoengineering, these practices demonstrate humanity's long-standing desire to control and manipulate weather patterns. So when you really look back at it, like cloud seeding and weather modification manipulation goes all the way back to the 40s. They were working on this stuff during World War II and stuff, trying to find ways to use it as a weapon. And
it says here that scientists first began to worry about climate change toward the end of the 1950s.
In the 70s, the 60s and 70s, my father-in-law said they were being taught that another ice age was coming. So they weren't really using global warming.
And it says here in 1896, a Swedish scientist became the first person to imagine that humanity could change the climate on a global scale. So the idea of global warming has been around since 1890s. It says the scientists didn't start worrying about it until the 50s.
On the Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory, U.S. Department of Commerce. This is, you can go there and you can look this up on your own. Title of this article is called The 70th Anniversary of the First Hurricane Seeding Experiment. Then it shows a picture of a bunch of good old boys standing in front of their B-17. It says, Project Sirius crew and scientists pose in front of a B-17 used in the hurricane seeding, U.S. Navy. On the afternoon of October 13, 1947, an Air Force B-17 aircraft penetrated a hurricane 415 miles east of Jacksonville and dumped several pounds of crushed dry ice into the storm, just to see what would happen. This was the first attempt to modify a tropical cyclone by seeding it with freezing nuclei. It was almost the last. And then you can go on and read about how they did it. It's very well documented. They have all the stuff in there. They started, apparently, for a couple decades, they tried to weaken hurricanes by dropping silver iodide, a substance that serves as an effective ice nuclei, into the rain bands of storms. During the storm fury years, scientists seeded clouds in hurricanes Esther, 1961, Baloo, 1963, Debbie, 1969, and Ginger, 1971. The experiments took place over the open Atlantic far from the land. So, yeah, Operation Storm Fury was another project that they used to cloud seed and stuff and everything. So this is all documented. You can go check it out or whatever. This is, once again, chemtrails and cloud seeding is not a conspiracy. It's a real thing. The conspiracy would be that they're trying to manipulate the weather to further push their agenda of global warming, and you have to continue to pay taxes and whatnot, or whatever means of control they can implement under it.
I think another one would be that they use this for war, like they're using it as a weapon, weather weapons.
Yeah, and using
it
to
they
keep.
Quite got that. Yeah, I don't know if they quite got it dialed in like that.
I mean, they may, and think about that. They could. Oh, you don't want to follow along with our agenda? Well, looks like your country's about to have a drought for the next.
Right. Yeah,
3 years.
What I was going to say.
Or flooding.
The best way to control a group of people is to not let them have water. Like, you can survive for a couple weeks without food, but what is it, 3 days, no water, and you start to shut down?
Pretty much. Yeah, it's a really good way to look at it. So,
right.
I mean, if they have the means to do it, they're going to be using it as a weapon. Somebody somewhere is using it as a weapon, no doubt.
Like, I think I read one time that people thought that HAARP was used to create earthquakes for war.
Or tsunamis.
Yeah, for like tsunamis. Like, they were using it to create an earthquake so they could just devastate that area without it being bombed or whatever.
Yeah, and apparently...
It's like, oh, well, I guess, God wanted that place to be gone too, because look at now, it had a bunch of earthquakes, and they just go in and pop up, basically.
Yeah,
that was
well,
one
like
of the ideas for HAARP. Like
in Pakistan in 2000, right before Bin Laden was killed, they had all those crazy earthquakes, and like 80% of the country got flooded or whatever. Remember that? Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Was that 2010 or 2011 or something?
Yeah, I think he died in 2012, didn't he?
2011 is when he was killed.
Yeah, 11,
allegedly.
Yeah, somewhere there.
The official story goes. Then dumped in the ocean per Muslim custom. Makes total sense. All Muslims have to take their dead to the ocean and dump them. And no matter how much money you have to do it.
Isn't a bunch of Muslim countries landlocked?
Yes. Yeah, that's part of the joke. Yeah, it's absolutely stupid and asinine to even suggest that that's something that's real. But hey, that's the official story, man. Believe whatever you want. But in 100 years, the official story is going to be what the government tells you it is.
I know that there are countries where you have to take your dead to like a certain river, right? Or like a certain place, and then
yeah, it's like in India, and then they bathe in the same river, and then there are people getting sick, and they're like, "Why is this happening to us?" Maybe because you're bathing in dead body water.
They have like, where they put their dead in like it's like a silo, and then all the vultures come down and like eat the dead body, and then the guy comes and like picks the bones up.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's awesome / really disgusting.
So metal. Natural causes, and some of these people don't like. I'm sure some of these people's religion, they just don't want to be buried, Like, that's probably not necessary.
Perhaps. I don't know. All right, moving along here. While the potential to cool the planet is enticing, solar geoengineering carries significant risks and ethical dilemmas. Altering the Earth's radiation balance could lead to unintended consequences, such as changing in precipitation patterns, impacts on agriculture, and geopolitical tensions over who controls the thermostat. Moreover, it doesn't address the root cause of climate change, greenhouse gas emissions. There's also the issue of termination shock. Solar geoengineering were to be abruptly stopped after being deployed, it could lead to rapid and severe warming, potentially more damaging than if the intervention had never been implemented. This underscores the need for a long-term commitment and robust governance structures if such technologies were ever to be used. Which is just like, and we're going to get into it, there's a movie that came out in 2017 that is that exact scenario called Geostorm with Gerard Butler, where they have satellites in this giant space station that controls all the satellites, that controls the weather on Earth. They control all the weather patterns on Earth. They stopped all massive storms and all this stuff. But then it has a catastrophic failure or some crap, and then all these superstorms just start raging out of control and create complete chaos on the Earth. So, interesting. Ethically, the question arises, do we have the right to manipulate the climate system, especially when the outcomes are uncertain? The potential for unequal impacts across different regions and communities further complicates the moral landscape. For instance, while some areas might benefit from cooling, others could experience detrimental changes to their weather patterns. just like Mel and I were just discussing.
Like what's going on right now. Did you see that Italy had like 300 earthquakes over the weekend? Something like that?
300? No, I didn't. Wow.
Yeah. It was like a small island off of Italy, I think it said, or Greece. Italy or Greece, I can't remember. But they had like 300 earthquakes. Idyllic islands. Thousands evacuated from idyllic islands after 300 earthquakes in just 48 hours. I think that's how you say it. Idyllic. Idyllic.
Idyllic.
Idyllic.
It is pronounced idyllic. The idyllic islands of Greece.
Thousands left the Greek island of Santorini by ferry since Sunday, according to local media. Emergency flights have been scheduled to leave on Tuesday. More than 300 earthquakes have been recorded in the past 48 hours near the island, causing mass evacuations across the region. It says here they've been recorded between magnitudes of between 3 and 4.9, which 4.9 one's pretty good.
Wow, not good.
These earthquakes happened on February 4th and 5th, 2025. While the earthquakes have left cracks in some buildings, no substantial damage or injuries have been reported. The neighboring islands of Anofi, Ios, and Amorgos have also reported no casualties.
You know, they're going to keep blaming all these storms on climate change. And, you know, the Bible did say that in the end times, there's going to be storms that have not been seen since the creation of the earth. So we'll see what happens, but
Jason A just released a video about crazy storms that have been going on. I don't know if you watched that one.
No, I'll have to check it out.
He just had a new one, yeah.
Yeah, he usually puts out some good stuff. He puts out some clickbait too, but it's all good.
Sometimes.
Yeah. As of 2025, the debate over social geoengineering continues. Some scientists advocate for more research to understand potential impacts fully, while others call for international treaties to regulate or even ban such technologies. The European Union, for instance, has been urged to broker global agreements on the matter. And then I had asked ChatGPT what kind of chemicals were being sprayed in the air, and we already heard the carbon, that calcium carbonate, and there's also this other one. It started giving it to me and then for some reason just stopped. So I don't know why that happened, but it says various chemicals have been proposed for use in stratospheric aerosol injection, each with its own set of potential environmental and health impacts. The most commonly discussed substance is sulfur dioxide. Once injected into the stratosphere, sulfur dioxide reacts to form sulfate aerosols, which reflect sunlight. However, this can lead to stratospheric heating, potential depletion of the ozone layer, and changes in precipitation patterns. Yeah, in that Highlander 2 movie, the ozone layer was destroyed, so they had to create a shield to block out the sun. We'll get into that here in a little bit.
I remember growing up and they told you don't buy the aerosol can smell goods because it depletes the ozone layer, while they're constantly ejecting it like directly into the ozone layer.
Well, yeah, and then shortly after that, they came out with those motion sensor ones that eject it for you. You just have to put it in your bathroom, and when people walk by, it ejects good smells in your bathroom.
Right, but like they're telling you, hey, your car's depleting the ozone layer. Drive a fuel efficient car. Don't use these because it's depleting the ozone layer. But don't worry about us flying planes as high as we can fly them. Or spraying the shit basically directly into the ozone layer. Don't worry about that.
I see where
you
you're
worry
going.
About yourself.
Right. That's why they did that cash for clunkers.
You're ruining, yeah. Fucking cash for clunkers. That would be a good episode. We should do a whole thing on that.
Yeah, how much of a scam that was. Yeah, we should.
How big of a scam of it was, yes, and how it fucked our economy even worse.
And it made it harder for the lower middle class. I mean, especially particularly the lower class to be able to get reliable vehicles at a decent price.
Right. So, yeah, you got rid of all the $500 cars with like a little bit wrong with them, and now you try to get a used vehicle, and you like the lowest you're going to find is a reliable car for $2,000-$3,000.
Well, plus everything has electronics in it now. They don't want you working on it. All those cash for clunker ones were the nice cars that you could teach your son how to work on a vehicle through because everything was nice and easy. I had this awesome Regency Oldsmobile Regency Elite, dude. And that car had enough room for me to work on the engine and dance inside of it under the hood at the same time. You know what I mean? Everything was nice. right there where he wanted it. It wasn't too much of a gas guzzler, but anyway, yeah, we should do an episode on that. That'd be a good one. We should put that in the Discord. But let's get into a little conspiracy theories here based off this, because people already believe that this whole thing is a conspiracy theory. They think those chemtrails are condensation trails, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you ever looked into the arguments from the actual professionals about what's the difference between a chemtrail and a contrail, you'll see how laughable it is when people are like, no, it's just a contrail. When you say that, that means you've never actually done the research and know the difference between the two.
You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. Look at the sky over any modern city. Chances are you'll see line-shaped clouds mixed with the normal cloud cover. These are called contrails. When jets fly through the air, they leave trails of water vapor in their wake. This vapor dissipates a few minutes after the jet passes. The government claims these clouds are a harmless result of engine exhaust. I'm no meteorologist. When I hear about the weather, I take the experts at their word. However, some sources reject this explanation. These researchers believe there's another type of man-made cloud, a chemtrail. While contrails are an effect of water and air temperature, chemtrails are allegedly different. What if those lines aren't just water? What could they be? Why are they here? Many chemtrail theorists, or chemies, think the trails are a type of weather manipulation. We know weather-changing technology exists. By using dry ice or silver iodide, scientists can increase rainfall. It's imperfect, but it's real. Chemtrails could be another more precise technique. This could explain why chemtrails don't dissipate. They could be made to attract moisture. But not all chemtrails attract cloud cover. Some just linger like strokes of paint across the sky. Because not all chemtrails attract moisture, many chemies think those strange striped-shaped clouds have a different purpose. Why control the weather if you can control the people? Here's where it gets crazy. Some researchers believe chemtrails are a kind of mind control. According to this theory, the chemicals spread through chemtrails wear down the immune system and force the victim's mind to function at a lower level. With a less alert population, no one will notice the changes in local, national, and global governments. They allege that higher amounts of bacteria, barium, and aluminum are found near chemtrails. But this theory has obstacles. It's tough to control the dosage. Spraying chemicals only affects people who happen to be outdoors. What happens to the rest? There's also no way to aim. It doesn't sound effective. But some believe chemtrails aren't made for mind control or weather manipulation. Instead, they're weapons. Sure, this sounds ridiculous. We're comparing clouds to tanks and missiles. But the US does conduct atmospheric research and has extensive experimental facilities. Consider HAARP in Alaska. HAARP conducts experiments in Earth's ionosphere, 35 miles from the planet's surface. We already have the ability to manipulate the weather. Some theorists think our government can also create earthquakes and manipulate electromagnetic fields. Chemtrails might only be side effects of these secret weapons. The electromagnetic waves used by these weapon systems might distort and discolor clouds. When you see a chemtrail or odd clouds, you might be seeing the effects of an invisible global weapon. Could this be possible? The next time you find yourself outdoors on a sunny day, look at the clouds. Do they seem normal? Are these trails in the sky the normal streaks of jets and the normal movement of clouds and wind? Or is there something else up there? Something they don't want you to know.
But conspiracy theories surrounding solar geoengineering have gained traction in recent years, with the chemtrails theory being among the most prominent. The resurgence of the chemtrails conspiracy theory have been notably observed in the United States, especially amid debates over geoengineering as a potential solution to combat climate change. Figures like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have publicly supported this theory, pledging to end what he describes as a crime, which it is. I would have to say that'd be a crime as well. Mel, did you ever vote for shit to be sprayed in our skies here in Iowa?
No, I did not.
I didn't either. That's involuntary. You were spraying me and my family with a substance that we never asked to be sprayed with for something that is a concept. That's a theory that could potentially lower, but even the so-called experts say this also has to come in hand with, people doing their part in the, cutting carbon emissions and blah, 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 blah. So kind of like recycling during COVID, the recycling centers were shut down. So you know what the cities did with your recyclables? Threw them in the landfill.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the recycles go.
Yeah. You're doing your part.
I've said for a
Guess
long
what?
time, dude. It's like, I think it's outrageous that you have fucking people telling you to not do these certain things because it's hurting the environment as they're flying their private jet fucking 30 minutes because they don't want to drive across town. Like, get fucked.
Taylor Swift. Yeah, I agree. It's stupid and asinine.
At least there are celebrities out there that preach preach that stuff, and then they'll fly, just like regular people. They won't fly in a private jet or anything like that. But yeah, I just never understood that, man.
Well, they're better than us. They're in a higher class, so you wouldn't understand, man. Sorry. I don't understand either. Yeah, they're in a higher class than me, so I don't get it.
It's just the way, she has to travel like that, dude, or else she'll die.
Yep. She might get murdered on an airplane by a Muslim jihadist. You never know.
Never know, bro.
Mm-hmm. Better safe than sorry, I guess, huh? I don't know.
With the most dangerous weapon in the world, the box cutter.
That's right. Don't doubt it. It's taken down buildings, dude.
It has taken down buildings.
But pens have taken down governments. Anyway. But interestingly, the concept of blocking out the sun has also permeated movies, TV, and pop culture. So one of the movies, like we brought up, Solar Crisis. We brought that up. That was that science fiction, 1999. This science fiction thriller revolves around a mission to prevent a massive solar flare from incinerating Earth by deploying a bomb into the sun. You want to kill us? We're going to kill you. I've never heard of it either. It was supposed to be a theatrical, smash hit. It had the same special effects team.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it had the same special effects team. Hold on, same special effects
Japanese
team.
American. Go ahead.
Yeah, the same special effects team that did Star Wars. Go ahead.
It's a Japanese American science fiction thriller. That's why I've never heard of it.
Yeah, but it's a bunch of American actors and stuff in it. I mean, the trailer looks cool. You might check it out. It's free on YouTube if you look around.
If this monster sun flare reaches the Earth, complete destruction.
Once in orbit, trigger the flare, and then home free.
Good Lord willing.
That was 1990. In 1991, Highlander 2: The Quickening. In the sequel of Highlander, the Earth is shielded by an artificial ozone layer to protect it from solar radiation, plunging the planet into a state of perpetual darkness.
Somewhere in the future, a man from the past, find the cloud and kill him, is all that stands between life and death.
There simply isn't enough energy on the planet to take down the shield without killing us all.
The world is dying, McLeod. The shield has to come down.
Greetings, Highlander. You cold? Rather glad the magic works.
You got a light?
Let's have some fun. Remember, you called me. Just remember the quickening.
It sounds like magic.
Well, it is, kind of. Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery, Highlander 2: The Quickening.
So in this film, apparently in the year 2024.
It says here that the plot, I'm looking at the wiki of it.
Yeah.
It's describing the plot of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It says this is the plot of the U.S. theatrical cut, which differs from the European theatrical cuts. So substantial changes were also made to the Renegade version in later cuts, which are now the only versions commercially available.
Are which cuts?
So the Renegade version and later cuts. So the original cut and the European cut are not available anymore.
Well, the Renegade version you can find on YouTube.
Right. That's the version of the movie it says that are generally commercially available now.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it says, but it was just weird that the plot of the movie is different in the European cut. I wonder what the plot of the movie is.
Well, according to this, like I said, the ozone layer got damaged and the Earth was being hit with dangerous solar radiation from the sun. So the Highlander helped create a artificial shield that covered the entire Earth, but then it plunged the planet into a state of darkness. In one of the scenes, the doctor's talking to the Highlander, and he says,
A team of international scientists led by Dr. Alan Neyman and supervised by Connor McLeod work around the clock. This may be the last chance for planet Earth.
They'll remember this day for 1,000 years. The day we protected the planet from the sun.
And then that's when they activate the shield. And then 25 years later, it gets blown up by Highlander. He destroys it.
Oh, by the way, how is the shield business?
Never better.
It must be great to have every country in the world as your customer.
Actually, Mr. McLeod, we prefer to think that we protect the population of the planet from death by solar radiation. It is a rather unique service, don't you agree?
As long as it's necessary.
Meaning?
Maybe one day the ozone layer will repair itself.
That would indeed be a great day for the human race, wouldn't it? But it really makes no difference anymore, since you built the shield to last forever.
Nothing lasts forever.
But very interesting. Dark City, remember that movie?
No, I don't remember that movie either.
Kiefer Sutherland was in it. 1998. It's a neo-Norse science fiction film where a city is perpetually enveloped in darkness due to an alien race's manipulation, preventing the sun from rising.
First, there was darkness. Then came the strangers.
They come when we sleep.
Seeking a cure for their own mortality.
To steal our thoughts.
Our souls makes us different from them.
To shape our memories.
We have much to do.
To take away all that makes us human.
It is time. Who are they? Answer me!
But one of us knows their secret.
You saw something, didn't you? I don't think the sun even exists.
And one of us...
We are running out of time. There's no escape.
Has the power to stop them.
And apparently what happened is aliens showed up. They promised the leaders of the world certain things. And then they created this city. Everybody else got to do whatever they wanted, but then they abducted certain people. And they were performing these experiments on them where they're like changing their minds and implementing like some MK Ultra stuff, basically.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer for it right now.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a dark film, just like the title, Dark City. Definitely, it's a good one. If you're in neo-punk type stuff and like mystery type things, it's a good one. Good mystery thriller, I should say.
They control everything here, even the sun. That's why it's always dark. They can't stand the light.
And then came The Matrix, 1999. In the film, there's a pivotal scene where Morpheus explains to Neo that humans scorched the sky in an attempt to cut off the machines from their primary energy source, which was the sun. If you remember that, the robots ran off of solar energy or whatever. This act was a part of a desperate strategy during the human-machine war to disable the machine's solar power capabilities.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
We have only bits and pieces of information, but what we know for certain is that at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI.
AI? I mean artificial intelligence.
A singular consciousness that spawned an entire race of machines. We don't know who struck first, us or them, but we know that it was us that scorched the sky. At the time, they were dependent on solar power, and it was believed that they would be unable to survive without an energy source as abundant as the sun.
Yeah,
thus them turning humans into batteries.
The sun.
Yeah, there was like constant storms or whatever, so that the sun would never shine. And then another one I got on the list here, Geostorm. That's that one with Gerard Butler. I'll play that clip.
The Senate committee will now hear from Jacob Lawson, Climate ISS Chief Coordinator. May the record reflect that he was nearly 1 hour late.
Yeah, sorry about that. I literally had to fly in from outer space.
Thanks to a system of satellites, natural disasters have become a thing of the past. We can control our weather.
Mr. President, one of our thermospheric satellites malfunctioned over Afghanistan.
So your proposal is what?
We shut down all satellites.
I don't need to remind all of you how many people died from catastrophic climate conditions.
Make sure there's no further incidents.
Are you going back up to space?
I'm coming back. I promise.
Have a safe trip, sir.
Just don't touch anything.
Main engine start.
This is Mr. Jake Lawson.
The Jake Lawson?
You look much older than I would have thought. I mean, you look good. Am I getting fired?
My access has been blocked.
So satellite has a bad comm, that happens.
Not a satellite. All of them.
This wasn't a malfunction. It was intentional.
There's potential for catastrophic weather events on a global scale. A geostorm. We have to shut the system down.
The only one who has the kill codes is the president.
I need your help.
You're soliciting a Secret Service agent. Seriously? We're kidnapping the president in a self-driving cab.
Jake, if you can't stop it, no one can. 3, 2, 1.
Come on, baby.
You realize you're committing treason?
Oh, yeah, I kidnapped the president. I've stolen state secrets. Yeah, anything I'm forgetting, honey?
Honey.
Hold on!
Barrier.
But in this science fiction disaster film, a network of climate controlling satellites malfunctions, leading to catastrophic weather events. The satellites were designed to prevent natural disasters by manipulating weather patterns, including controlling solar radiation. And then all hell breaks loose on Earth. Weird. Yeah. Also, there's some stuff in television. So this goes back further than just, these movies. These are the movies from like 90s and the early 2000s or whatnot. You remember that show Dinosaurs?
I do remember Dinosaurs. 90s kid classic show.
Honey, I'm home.
Yeah, dude, I remember watching that show. It was awesome. 1994. There was an episode called Changing Nature, 1994. And the series final... So this is how they ended the entire Dinosaurs series. I think it only went for like 4 years or whatever, right?
91 to 94. So for 3 years.
Okay, 3 years. Yeah, like I said, I didn't.
April 26th to 1991 to July 20th, 1994.
Okay, yeah, I remember it didn't last that long, but in the series finale, the dinosaurs inadvertently caused an environmental disaster by spraying a defoliant to control overgrown plants, leading to blocking of sunlight and a subsequent ice age. I'll play that clip.
As the cider poppy crisis enters its second week, it now appears a solution is at hand. An independent task force of concerned citizens has come forward with a plan to spray the entire supercontinent with a powerful chemical defoliant. At a press conference held earlier today, Task Force Director Earl Sinclair responded to reporters.
Mr. Sinclair, isn't the word defoliant just another name for poison?
Poison is such a harsh word. We on the task force prefer to think of it as botanical bye-bye juice.
Oh, yeah.
Just where does this bye-bye juice come from?
It was graciously made available to us by a concerned industrialist who stands behind us 1,000%.
Good morning. Last night's massive aerial spraying has succeeded in destroying all the cider poppies. Unfortunately, it has also killed all other forms of plant life on the planet.
Well, there goes breakfast.
And so it seems the task force's solution to the cider poppy problem has caused an environmental calamity of catastrophic proportions.
Somebody's in trouble.
Hey, let's not get panicky. Our task force technical advisor will know exactly how to bring back the plants. How the heck should I know? I'm a captain of industry, not a gardener.
Gosh, so we really ought to do something. Folks get a little antsy when they suspect they may never eat again.
Oh, okay. Give me a minute. All right. We're talking about plants here, right?
Yeah.
Well, what makes plants grow? Dirt?
Talking to them in loving tones?
Rain! We gotta make it rain! That's all there is to it! But how? If we want it to rain, then we need clouds. And how do we make clouds? Oh, volcanoes, you idiots! They spew off big puffy clouds whenever they erupt. So all we gotta do is set off a whole bunch of volcanoes.
But how, sir?
We'll drop bombs in them. I don't know, sir. It sounds like we'd be declaring war on nature. Exactly! But, sir, our last quick fix solution sort of backfired on us. Maybe we should think twice before unleashing the unholy fires of hell. Extreme problems call for extreme solutions. This is no time for you to lose your faith in the power of technology.
Unfortunately, once again, the task force's latest tactic has gone tragically awry, as thick black clouds of sulfurous gas and soot now shroud the entire planet, blotting the sun from the sky and causing global temperatures to drop precipitously.
And it's funny because like they have that world of dinosaurs is set up as if in the Jurassic area dinosaurs were like human beings, right? With all the same amenities that humans have in the 90s and stuff like that. So it's really interesting because they're in that clip they talk about how the dude, the main character, can't remember his name. What's his name? Do you know?
Hold on. Earl. The dad?
Yeah, the dad.
Earl Sneed Sinclair is what it says?
Yeah, Sinclair, that's what he was calling him. So in the clip, he's like, sir, I think we made the mistake. You know, he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, we're having the best quarter ever. More people are buying house warmers and blankets and our food's flying off the shelves. He's like, we're making tons of money. And he said, yeah, we're having the best quarter ever. And then McClare's like, I don't think we're going to have another quarter after this, sir. So it was a funny way to end it, but like, it's interesting how it was something being sprayed into the sky to kill overgrown plants that ended up causing an ice age.
What are you whining about now, Sinclair? Sir, I think we may have gone just a teensy bit too far this time. I don't know what you're talking about. Why, this sudden cold snap is a godsend. Dinosaurs are flocking to stores buying We Say So heaters, We Say So blankets, and We Say So old-fashioned hot cocoa mix. We're going to have the best third quarter in history. Sir, I think this could be the last third quarter in history. Oh, don't turn into one of those environmental doomsayers, Sinclair. Boo-hoo, it's raining acid. There's a hole in the ozone. You're hurting Flipper. Bah, bunch of tree-hugging panty wastes. They're always standing in the way of progress, and it's our job to pave right over them. I think you're missing the point, sir. The world may be coming to an end. Well, that's a fourth quarter problem. We'll drop a bomb on that bridge when we come to it. Right now, my biggest problem is trying to figure out what to do with all this money.
And then in The Simpsons, Who Shot Mr. Burns 1995 episode, Mr. Burns constructs a device to obscure the sun. So, like, I'll play that clip. It's a pretty funny one.
Well, sir, you've certainly vanquished all your enemies, the elementary school, the local tavern, the old age home. You must be very proud.
No, not while my greatest nemesis still provides our customers with free light, heat, and energy. I call this enemy the sun. Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Good God.
Imagine it, Smithers. electrical lights and heaters running all day long.
But, sir, every plant and tree will die. Owls will deafen us with incessant hooting. The town sundial will be useless. I don't want any part of this project. It's unconscionably fiendish.
I will not suffer your insubordination. There has been a shocking decline in the quality and quantity of your toadying, Whelan, and you will fall into line. Now!
No. No, Monty, I won't. Not until you step back from the brink of insanity.
I'll do no such thing. You're fired.
But
I remember this episode.
Yeah, I remember this episode too. Yeah, Mr. Burns is like, my mortal enemy, the sun. He's mad that people are getting free energy from the sun. So he builds this device to block the sun, thereby forcing the residents of Springfield to rely solely on electricity from his power plant. And this portrayal...
And then fucking Maggie shoots him.
yeah, the baby.
The baby shoots him.
Yeah. Everybody got like bow-legged from not having any sun and stuff. So yeah, they explore a lot of interesting concepts of what would happen if we weren't getting like natural vitamin D and stuff and everything from the sun, right? So yeah, it says this portrayal reflects societal apprehensions about individuals or entities exerting control over natural elements for personal gain. And yeah, Mr. Burns did that all just for the money aspect of it. Good episode, but yeah, I remember that one, watching that as a kid.
I remember it was like a big deal when I was a kid. Like, who shot Mr. Burns?
Yeah, wasn't it like a 3-part episode or?
It was a 2 or 3-part episode if I remember correctly. But yeah, it was, back in the day when we were growing up, it wasn't, well, I guess some shows still do it now, but yeah, they did like one show every week instead of just dumping it all on us at one time.
Yeah.
There are some shows now that do that.
Yeah. Now you have to wait. Yeah. You just get whatever you want. Back then we had to wait a whole week. And if you missed it, you missed it, dude. You had to basically wait until you're an adult and it came out on Pirate Bay or something.
Well, you had to hope that maybe they ran the rerun or something.
Yeah. In the hopes that they'd rerun it in the future. And then this episode, so they ran that off that publicity. What was that one show? Who Shot Dallas? Oh my gosh. That was really big. They made it big.
Wasn't it called Dallas?
What was that?
Wasn't that show just called Dallas?
Who shot JR on Dallas? I'll just bet Cliff Barnes did the dirty deed.
When the smoke's cleared, dear, you'll find that it was Vaughn Leland.
Well, people list the 10 most likely suspects, and Vaughn sounds very unlikely to me, Sherlock.
People asked 11 Texas celebrities who done it, and one of them agreed with me.
There's even this Who Shot JR poll. People's asking everybody to vote.
Everybody who follows Dallas should treat themselves.
Treat their family.
To this week's people. Why do you buy 2 peoples?
So you can vote for Vaughn while I send people the right answer.
Who Shot JR?
Who Shot JR? That's what it is. Yeah. Who Shot JR?
On Dallas.
Yeah, on Dallas. Yeah. And that was like, they made that like the biggest thing in television, So that's, I think, another reason why The Simpsons did that. They played off of that publicity from like 10 years prior to, Who Shot JR? So Who Shot Mr. Burns, right? And then
they were making a play on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting episode. And we all know that The Simpsons has a knack for predicting the future and doing some other weird shit, right?
Right.
It's interesting. The Outer Limits, you remember that show?
There is nothing wrong with your television. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are now controlling the transmission. We control the horizontal and the vertical. We can deluge you with 1,000 channels or expand one single image to crystal clarity and beyond. We can shape your vision to anything our imagination can conceive. We will control all that you see and hear. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the deepest inner mind to the outer limits.
It ran from 95 to 2002. I only watched it a few times, but this science fiction series features episodes exploring themes of environmental manipulation, including the consequences of altering natural phenomena like sunlight. So I never really got into that big one. I was more into Sliders because I think Sliders and The Outer Limits were on it roughly at the same time, so you had to pick one or the other. And I watched Sliders instead, which is much.
X-Files myself.
Oh, and X-Files, yeah. If X-Files was on, that trumped everything, dude. X-Files is king.
Right.
One thing, yeah, I think all the talk guys can fully agree on is if you don't like the X-Files, you can just get out of our club, huh?
Pretty much. And I remember this. I remember this next one too, the Futurama one.
Oh, do you? I don't remember this one. Do you want to explain it?
Well, like a giant garbage ball is heading towards Earth, and it's blocking out the sun. But they shoot another garbage. They make another garbage ball. It's like in the past, the past people decided to just throw all their garbage onto a rocket and then shoot it into space, and then it like came back. So they had to like they couldn't figure out how to make it change direction because everything they shot at it would just get sucked into it.
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that the one where the professor created that smelloscope and he was trying... And
he has
Fry
a smelloscope, and
Fry was trying to smell your anus.
Yeah, he's trying to smell your anus. They changed it to your rectum.
Yeah, and then he ended up smelling that giant piece of garbage, that giant asteroid of garbage. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, and then they have to, they recycle everything in the future.
Right.
So, they don't make garbage. So he has to teach them how to make garbage. So they can so they shoot the fucking rocket garbage ball into the other garbage ball to bounce it into space or into the sun.
Yeah, and then they're like, won't that other bigger garbage ball come back later? And there's like, that's like 100 years from now. That's their problem.
Yeah, that's the future's problem. Yeah.
yeah. Just kicking the can down the road essentially again, right? Yeah, I do remember that episode now.
So this thing's gonna destroy the whole city? What the heck is it? Ah, just as I thought. The answer lies in this movie I found on the internet.
New York City, the year 2000. The most wasteful society in the history of the galaxy. And it was running out of places to bury its never-ending output of garbage. The landfills were full. New Jersey was full. And so, under cover of darkness, the city put its garbage out to sea on the world's largest barge. The repulsive barge circled the oceans for 50 years, but no country would accept it, not even that really filthy one. You know the one I mean. Finally, in 2052, the city used its mob connections to obtain a rocket and launch the garbage into outer space. Some experts claimed the ball might return to Earth someday, but their concerns were dismissed as depressing.
Wow, you got that off the internet?
It's one of the earlier ones.
It is, 1999.
And it's funny that you mentioned that The Simpsons predicts the future because of Futurama. Futurama is made by the same guy.
Yeah, same people. Yep.
Yeah,
really interesting. Futurama and The Simpsons, those same studios coming out with these things. Because, when that ball of garbage comes towards Earth, it partially blocks the sun, starts causing tsunamis and earthquakes and all these other crazy environmental
it causes crazy weather,
issues. Yeah. So science fiction's predicted it, but science reality wants to test the waters, I guess. I don't know. There's a bunch of, and there's more stuff, but I was just wondering how often this theme occurred in music. And GPT brought up a bunch of stuff. One of them being "Locking Up the Sun" by the Poets of the Fall, which is an alternative rock song using the metaphor of locking up the sun to discuss themes of control and power. "Block the Sun" by Eric Gales, 2010, a blues rock song that metaphorically discusses the idea of blocking the sun. Weird that you would title it that. "Block Out the Sun" by the Slow Readers Club, which it's good title for a band. An indie rock track that delves into themes of darkness and light. "Block Out the Sun" by Sevendust. "Black Out the Sun" by Sevendust, 2013. The title track from Sevendust's 9th studio album. This song delves into themes of obscurity and darkness, metaphorically suggesting the act of blacking out the sun. And then we have Blocking Out the Sun by Robbie Fayer, 2021, a song reflecting on themes of obscured light and metaphorical darkness.
So fucking ChatGPT just neglected to mention Black Hole Sun?
No, it did bring that up, but I chose not to do that one because that's Black Hole Sun, which, like I said, that kind of covers the concept of like what we said in the beginning about the black sun being a totally different sun. That's the sun that blocks the real sun during solar eclipses and stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Maybe that's also... Yeah. So it did bring that up, but I chose to leave that out of here.
Okay.
So I started getting into a chat here with ChatGPT, asking a few things, and I asked it, what are chemtrails? And ChatGPT said, chemtrails refer to a conspiracy theory that claims the white trails left behind airplanes in the sky, known as contrails, so ChatGPT is letting you know that's fake, are actually chemical or biological agents deliberately sprayed by governments or secret agencies for undisclosed purposes. These alleged purposes range from weather control and population control to mind manipulation and biological warfare. So after it just got done showing all this evidence, citing quotes and stuff up here at the top in this other portion of our script that it helped us write, now it's telling us that there's no such thing as a plane spraying stuff in the sky. And then it says a scientific explanation of contrails. These are I said, okay, what are contrails? Contrails, short for condensation trails, are formed when hot exhaust gases from aircraft engines mix with the cold, humid air at high altitudes. This interaction causes water vapor to condense and freeze, creating visible streaks in the sky. The length and persistence of contrails depend on atmospheric conditions, including humidity and temperature. Now, the difference between a chemical trail and a contrail, which ChatGPT did not want to give me. So, how the experts have explained it, and this is why states have passed laws, which we're going to get into, banning these practices in their state, is so on a cold day, when you're outside, you blow out air, you can see your air moving in the cold air, right? You can see the hot air exhausting from your lungs. You can see the condensation in the air when you blow it out, right?
Right.
So imagine if you were to take a walk around the block from your house. And when you come around the block, you can still see that condensation trail and see where you've been.
See every breath you took.
Yeah.
While you walk around the fucking block.
Now, that doesn't happen. You say hot air rises, right?
Right.
So these condensation trails, you think they would just evaporate and go up or something if they were just condensation. Or you can see condensation trails. There's a difference when you look up in the sky because the condensation trails disappear, hundreds of feet behind the plane, right?
Right.
A chemtrail, though, that stays in the sky. That creates a new cloud. And we've talked about this on the show before.
Time after.
Yeah. We've talked about this on the show that there's four known human-made clouds that are new in the last 20 years.
I'm surprised you didn't ask this ChatGPT thing what cloud seeding is after it said that the chemtrails aren't real.
Oh, I should have. Yeah, duh. I didn't think about that, but yeah. According to this thing, there's been mistrust in the government institutes because of many people suspect secret government programs, especially after historical incidences like MK Ultra and Project Shad have happened. So people believe that this is a global conspiracy by the government and stuff. But allegedly, there's peer-reviewed studies surveying 77 atmospheric scientists and geochemists, and 76 out of the 77 experts found no evidence of secret chemical spraying programs and confirmed that all observed patterns and contrails could be explained by known physics and atmospheric science. It says 76 out of the 77. What'd the one have to say? Because earlier in this, it was just telling us that it was spraying sulfur dioxide and
other chemicals into the sky. Like
Yeah. And calcium carbonate. So then ChatGPT turns around and is like, oh no, that's just a conspiracy theory. So like I said, I think it pissed it off. But then I asked it, didn't Tennessee pass a bill to ban chemtrails? And ChatGPT said yes. In April 2024, Tennessee enacted legislation prohibiting the intentional injection, release, or dispersion of chemicals, chemical compounds, substances, or apparatus into the atmosphere within the state's borders, specifically aimed at affecting temperature, weather, or sunlight intensity, per the Tennessee General Assembly. So it said, while the bill's text does not explicitly mention chemtrails, the legislation has been widely interpreted as addressing concerns related to chemtrail conspiracy theories. Critics of the bill argue that it legitimizes a debunked conspiracy theory and could hinder legitimate scientific research into geoengineering and climate intervention strategies. Supporters contend that the law is a precautionary measure to protect public health and the environment from potentially undisclosed atmospheric experiments. So then I asked, I was like, okay, didn't Florida pass a law banning chemtrails being injected in the skies? Or chemicals? I didn't use chemtrails. I just said banning chemicals being injected in the skies. And ChatGPT said yes. On April 3rd, 2025, the Florida Senate passed Senate Bill 56, or Senate Bill 56, titled Geoengineering and Weather Modification Activities. This legislation prohibits the intentional injection, release, or dispersion of chemicals, chemical compounds, substances, or apparatus into the atmosphere within Florida's borders with the purpose of affecting temperature, weather, climate, or the intensity of the sunlight. So essentially the same thing that Tennessee passed. Violations of this law are classified as third-degree felonies, carrying penalties up to 5 years in prison and fines reaching $100,000. This bill has been associated with public concern regarding chemtrails, a debunked conspiracy theory suggesting that aircraft contrails contain harmful chemicals for nefarious purposes, per The Guardian. And critics of this bill argue that it legitimizes unfounded conspiracy theories and may hinder legitimate scientific research into geoengineering and climate intervention strategies. Supporters contend that the legislation is a precautionary measure to protect public health. So the same exact thing that was set up here on the Tennessee bill.
So basically, are they saying like that you can't listen to these conspiracy theories because the scientists could be doing this in real life and it could help us?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like, if it's conspiracy theory, it's debunked, even though you just told us that there's stuff being sprayed in the skies, then why is legislation being passed in states to stop it and prevent it?
Right. Okay. So if it's not happening, right. So if it's not happening at all, and the state is passing this law to make it not happen, so why are you throwing a big fit? If it's not happening, then what's the big problem? Then nobody should be breaking this law, right?
Yeah. Shouldn't we have to worry about it?
Yeah, shouldn't have to worry about it.
Why would you make fines and jail time if nobody's doing it?
Right, exactly. Like, if nobody's doing it, then why even worry that somebody's going to break this law? Like, I mean,
right. So
I understand if nobody's doing it, why make a law about it? But at the same time, like, if they're doing it, then maybe we should stop them from doing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But who are they going to enforce these penalties on?
Right.
Are they going to fucking fly? Like, does Florida have its own Air Force that they're going to fucking use to chase these planes down with, or what?
Florida's Air Force, maybe they'll outsource it to Disney.
Probably.
But I just want to hit on a few things here before we hit our conclusion. There's this BroBible.com article titled "Billionaires Are Working on a Plan to Block Out the Sun," which is probably a bad idea, by Douglas Charles, October 28th, 2024. Some scientists, along with a few billionaires, venture capitalists, startup founders, and tech executives are plotting a way to block out the sun. No, this is not a plot from the episode of The Simpsons. And then it goes on to say here, a growing number of Silicon Valley founders and investors are backing research into blocking the sun by spraying reflective particles high in the atmosphere or making clouds brighter. The goal is to quickly cool the planet. A couple of startups are already trying to deploy this untested technology or betting governments will eventually use it, while a cluster of Bay Area nonprofits are backing research into its planetary impact. With the world hotter than at any point in human history, allegedly, and emissions showing no sign of falling, the pitch is that dimming the sun is a relatively cheap way to turn the heat down. That's one article. There's another one here. Forbes. Bill Gates' venture aims to spray dust into the atmosphere to block the sun. What could go wrong? By Ariel Cohen, January 11th, 2021. And then in here it talks about Microsoft founder, billionaire Bill Gates is financially backing the development of sun-dimming technology that would potentially reflect sunlight out of Earth's atmosphere, triggering a global cooling effect. The Stratosphere-Controlled Perturbation Experiment, or SOPEX, launched by Harvard University scientists, aimed to examine the solution by spraying non-toxic calcium carbonate dust into the atmosphere, a sun-reflecting aerosol that may offset the effects of global warming. Calcium carbonate. What else is that used in? Do you know?
Was literally just looking it up right now. Found in rocks, as in minerals, chlorite, or chalk, limestone, eggshells, gastropod shells, shellfish, skeletons, and pearls. Used in construction, used in the oil industry.
According to drugs.com, is a mineral found naturally in foods, like you said, all that stuff. But it says, get emergency medical help if you have signs of an allergic reaction. So it could cause an allergic reaction on people, such as hives, difficulty breathing, swelling of your face, lips, tongue, or throat. And calcium carbonate may cause serious side effects. Call your doctor at once if you have little or no urinating, swelling, rapid weight gain, or high levels of calcium in your blood. Nausea, vomiting, constipation, increased thirst or urination, muscle weakness, bone pain, confusion, lack of energy, or feeling tired. Dang, dude, that's like half of America, or 3/4 of America right there, with just muscle weakness, bone pain, confusion, lack of energy, and feeling tired. A common side effect of calcium carbonate may include upset stomach, gas, or constipation. This is not a complete list of side effects, and others may occur. Call your doctor for medical advice about other side effects.
It says here that calcium carbonate is a key ingredient in many household cleaning powders like Comet and is used as a scrubbing agent. If that's what they're spraying into the sky, like it's a legit like bad chemical that they should probably, I don't want to be breathing in, really. Powdered fucking rock, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can take it as a supplement too, if you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, there's calcium carbonate pills. That was like the first thing that came up. 150 milligram calcium carbonate pills.
But right here, it looks like they have well-known effects, and that people can have bad reactions to the stuff. So that's interesting. That SOPEX is apparently working with the Swedish Space Corporation, where they agreed to help launch a balloon carrying scientific equipment 12 miles high. The launch will not release any stratospheric aerosols. Oh, that was the one that was protested. Yeah, a bunch of people didn't want that happening.
Well, what's this last one? Solar radiation modification. Solar geoengineering, or solar radiation management, is a group of large-scale approaches to reduce global warming by increasing the amount of sunlight, solar radiation, that it is reflected away from Earth and back to space. So, what are large-scale approaches?
Large-scale approaches of what?
That's just what it says. It says solar radiation modification is a group of large-scale approaches to reduce global warming by increasing the amount of sunlight that is reflected away from Earth and back to space. So, like, are they talking about, like, they're just trying to, like, work on it as they're approaching it as the problem? Like, as you approach a problem? Or is it like large scale approach an actual thing that they put up to reduce sunlight?
Yeah, well, they, I don't know, man, but there's some really powerful people that are on board here. You know, we said Bill Gates, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is behind this. Facebook co-founder Dustin Moskowitz, VC executives Matt Kohler and Chris Sacca, and Bay Area billionaire Rachel Pritzker are all investing in companies that seek to block out the sun. So these are like the evil, you know, billionaires that Superman comics warned us about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, if you're on the side of, you know, you believe the Earth is overheating and all that shit, then I guess you're going to think, I guess this would be a good thing. But if you believe, like I do, where I think climate change and global warming is just being used as a false narrative to tax American people more than they should be, because I don't see how more money, especially after all the shit that Doge has been finding, dude. Like, how can any of us trust our own government to use any of our tax-paying dollars to combat global warming when we just found out that you've been wasting on just absolute stupid stuff? Asinine things.
Yeah. Fucking $2 trillion saved over. They're projecting $2 trillion saved over however long it was, 5 years.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years or something.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely wasteful spending.
Yeah.
So forgive me.
How long has this shit been going on?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. How long has that been going on? So forgive me for being completely apprehensive to want to give you more of my money for you to combat global warming when I can't even trust you to take care of the roads and highways around here.
Oh yeah, or anywhere else for that matter, not just here.
Yeah. Well, as always, the best way to support us right now is to share the show and follow us on Instagram. Dude, we are heavily shadow banned on Instagram. It's super weird. Maybe it's because we're friends with Drew Misson. I don't know. But you can still follow us on Instagram at @IowaTalkGuys_podcast. Follow us on X at Iowa Talk Guys.
Follow us on YouTube and Rumble, Iowa Talk Guys.
And IowaTalkGuys.com. Actually, I think the website might be down. I need to check on that. But good things are coming. Just stand by. And always remember, don't eat the yellow cake.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
And don't trust your government when they say they're not spraying chemicals in the air.
That's right. Iowa Talk Guys. Out.
Hi. Good night, everybody.
I ain't got a good grade.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys. Oh, durka.
It wasn't a space laser. It wasn't a murder hornet. It wasn't Sasquatch. It was a bullet.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You lose. Good day, sir.
Here I am with you in Iowa, and I'd rather be here. I'd rather be here. So thank you very much. Very nice. Appreciate it.